Steelers and Jets overall watchability. What I thought might turn into a little bit of a slog turned into a shootout. 34-32, Steelers pull it out in Jersey. Justin Fields having probably his most consistent and productive day in a long time. A little bit of a revenge game for both quarterbacks in this battle. But what'd you think about this game, Charles? What stood out to you? Maybe some of that Jets good feelings from preseason carrying over, even though the Steelers won this game?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I can imagine for your Jets fan because they did end up losing this game, and that sucks. But on one good side, your offense looked like functional. Like I guess the way that we thought that it could look against, some of the, maybe like the non, I guess, super duper elite defenses in the league because they have a good offensive line. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen were both spectacular. I mean, Breece Allen, it felt like he had an explosive every other time that he got the ball, and they were working well with Justin Fields, who also had probably one of his best days as a pro in terms of just like overall production. So yeah, like that was to get kind of like guess what the best case scenario was for this offense right off the bat. It has to feel good, but on the flip side, you did give up a whole bunch of points to Aaron Rodgers and Steelers. But we'll get to that in a second. Jets offense, though, that was fun.
We're starting on the Jets offense, which is also kind of a negative because I thought the Steelers defense would be a little bit more, rugged. They turned it up at the very end, but Justin Fields, I just want to start on him. We're going to talk Steelers. Don't you worry, Steelers fans. We know you won the game. I got some notes on you guys. Don't you worry. But Justin Fields, 16-22, 218 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. Most importantly, only took 1 sack, which is significant for Justin Fields, 48 rushing yards. But then we get into the little, the advanced metrics. 67% dropback success rate for Justin Fields today. That's excellent. I mean, anything over 50% is great. So 67%, not a ton of dropbacks. Like I mentioned before, his previous high or single game high, 54%. So dwarfed his best, easily his best game analytically. 0.54 EPA per dropback. His previous high was 0.41. But what I thought was significant was, he had the runs, but he had some nice passing moments too. And some more, like his improv moments were a little bit more athletic. I know he's very fast and everything, but sometimes he's kind of stiff and rigid as a thrower, and he's elongated as a thrower. And Fields had like a little shovel pass when he was pressured, but to Garrett Wilson in the red zone, I thought was really nice. He got a little lucky on the Tyler Johnson. I have like penny shares of Tyler Johnson somewhere, so that was pretty exciting for my 2 shares of Justin Fields and my 1 share of Tyler Johnson right there. But and then the touchdown he had on 4th down, the play before that, he stepped up into the pocket, which most quarterbacks, I want to make a big deal about that. But for Justin Fields, who has bailed backwards his entire career, very encouraging. I all that was very encouraging and a little bit more passing game juice to this offense than I thought. But what you mentioned was the run game. Breece Hall, 10 for 19 as far as successful runs, 4 for 10 or more yards. A lot of good pre-snap action. Kind of got the Steelers linebackers out of position. So really nice stuff from the Jets offense, who we thought the run game could be interesting, but there's more to it. There's more, actual viability to this offense. But the Steelers, though, what'd you think? What'd you think of the Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers experience, and maybe what'd you think of the defense and how they came out to play in week 1?
I thought it was kind of interesting, I guess, because there were times, especially like early in the game where it was like, oh, this does not feel right, especially when the Jets were able to get pressure. Man, they laid a few good licks on Aaron Rodgers in this game. Made me think if there were like any bad feelings left from last season because they really gave it to him. But when Aaron was dropping back to throw, it did end up turning out pretty well. You had a 0.27 EPA per dropback, which is pretty strong, especially like if you're near 0.3. That's a pretty good day. They had 23.5 explosive pass rate on the day. Like him and DK Metcalf have some example. Had some big connections down the field. So it was interesting to see like how well it did start working, even with some moments where they were a little bit stuck in the mud. And even Aaron had a big play on the rollout in the red zone later in the game where I was like, hey, you can still do that if you're willing to do that. You don't got to be the fastest guy in the world to go boot and then and throw to the same side of the field. So to see that was kind of cool. And I think if they can just kind of keep playing like they were in the second half, this offense maybe can be a little bit better than I thought they were going to be this year. Just because it just didn't seem like Aaron was a good fit with that. But if he's willing to do the rollouts and he was still accurate down the field like he was today, that kind of changes things for their outlook for the season.
Yeah, it was just Arthur Smith loves his Island of Misfit Toys, man. Like
Yeah, he
it's
does.
just they're throwing like fades to Calvin Austin, Skarsgård, Ben Skowronek. Sorry, I call him
Yeah,
Skarsgård. That's a long, ongoing joke from like 5 years ago. He's catching touchdowns on bootlegs, jet sweeps to Jonnu
John
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah, 14 personnel,
Can't
one
help
running back,
himself.
4 tight ends. Yeah, jet sweep to your tight end. It worked. Scored a touchdown on it. Caleb Johnson's not playing because they're not going to trust him for protection yet. And Rodgers is just like that
Right.
anyways. He's not very encouraging of young players. But it worked. And I thought it was funny that the two of the passing touchdowns came on the exact same play. The one to Skarsgård and then the one to Calvin Austin. It was the exact same bootleg. Same exact design. The Calvin Austin short motions, this is the funniest part, is that bootleg, that design, it's to play off Bruce Arians used to do, and the Packers do it a bunch. It's to play off that the receiver fits on the safety, and the Steelers are doing it with Calvin Austin, who's 5'8", 155,
Something like
5'8",
that,
160, and
He's
tough as
trying.
hell. But so they ran the exact same play, hit Skarsgård, hit Calvin Austin. So yeah, I there was a good little performance. I actually was surprised. I kept waiting for them to kind of spiral, and they kind of had heart in the second half. The Steelers did. So this was just a little fun, more fun and more action to it than I was expecting, and some actually better quarterback play than maybe I was expecting on both sides. So I think that's a good
Steelers
high
probably,
and actually good feelings for the morning slate.
Yeah, the Steelers, they probably want to get a little bit more out of the run game next time. That was kind of a big dud today.
It's supposed to be the bread.
That's 20 carries for 53 yards, so
that's
that did give me a little pause,
Is the Steelers they don't play their rookie running back, and so they put Kenneth Gainwell in there, and then Kenneth Gainwell is giving up sacks. So it's like, great job, guys. You do a great job. Yeah. Just trust the rookie. All right, getting on to high number 2. And by the way, high low, other than highs and lows, also a little play on the high low concept in football. See, we're trying to tie it in, get a little, get a little marketing there. But high number 2, the Packers looking dangerous. 27-13. They beat the Lions in Lambeau. Came out guns blazing on offense, just firing balls down the field, marching left and right. Then it kind of hit a slog in the offense. The Lions defense is pretty good, but then the Packers defense cranked it up. I got a ton of stats. I don't even know where to start. I'll go with Jordan Love, 16-22, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 explosive passes, almost a 23% explosive pass rate. That's good. Anything over 14%, and you're good. Beautiful touchdown throw to Tucker Kraft, a football 301 favorite. But I thought the defense also had some outstanding moments with their new guy, Micah Parsons, on top of their old guys that they had up front. So, Charles, this game, what stood out to you the most with the Packers? Offense, defense, or everything in between?
Oh, man. Obviously, like when there's a big trade like this, there's you kind of get fixated on the player involved, Micah Parsons. So I was just, whenever I had my eyes on the Packers game, I was really dialed in on, when he was on the field and what he was doing. And I got to say, whatever epidural he got before the game, I need to start getting that one, because he had some plays today where he was on fire. The one that kind of sticks out in my mind is, like, I think his first pass rush, he got a big pressure on Jared Goff that ended the play. And then he had a run stop where he was like lined up on the edge on Penei Sewell, and he did such a good job of keeping his shoulder outside and staying strong. And then before before a teammate comes and gets the TFL, he actually flipped Penei Sewell on his back with one hand. And I was like, whoa, okay. So Micah, he's feeling good, and I imagine we'll see those reps start to increase over the next few weeks, because what we also saw today was Rashawn Gary looks like he's about to have a much better season than last year. You got to see Devontae Wyatt. He had a sack at the end of the game. Lucas Van Ness got in with some pressure. So that front looks like they could be, kind of a team that has a lot of juice up front. They have a lot of athletes that can get after it. And if Devontae Wyatt and Lucas Van Ness can take that next step, plus Rashawn Gary getting back to the player that we know he can be, I mean, this defense could be one of the best in the league, and they punched Detroit in the mouth with their first game with the new offensive line. So we'll have to track that for sure with what happens to Detroit. But I think that the Packers fans, you should be really excited about where your defense is right now.
They're firing off the ball, and your eyes don't deceive you. I switched to my big headphones because my other ones were cutting out.
I was going to say,
anybody watching this on the YouTube channel, it's a little trick I played on everybody there. But I'm right there with you. I mean, shoot, it wasn't just Micah Parsons. He had 3 pressures, and just some instant wins and an awesome play against the run where he stood up Penei Sewell and kind of caused the pile up, and Jahmyr Gibbs took the TFL in the red zone. Yeah, Rashawn Gary, 5 pressures, Micah Parsons, 3, Devontae Wyatt. I just keep calling Devontae Wyatt your guy because he's a Georgia defensive tackle. And then Lucas Van Ness with a couple. But then I brought this up on the pre-show, and some Lions fans got mad at me, but I was saying, well, Micah Parsons got after Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker in their past matchups, and it's just statistical fact on top of eye test. Taylor Decker, really 4 pressures allowed. Penei Sewell, 4 pressures allowed. Christian Mahogany, 3. Tate Ratledge, 3. Graham Glasgow, 2. So it was kind of like every single one of them was kind of getting peppered down there. All that pressure led to some great DB play. Evan Williams was jumping the interception. Goff was attacking underneath a bunch. Yeah, there was just some really nice moments on that defense. Then that was the thing was we were all, you and I were high in the defense. We were like, hey, this could be a top 10 defense, like pretty optimistic. And then, some maybe corner stuff, maybe what the pass rush looks like. But, drop Micah Parsons in. But then everyone else gets to slot down. Well, we got to double team Micah Parsons or send chip help. Well, then now whoever's opposite him is singled up. Now we can rotate these guys and keep them fresh. Like now we got different sizes too at D end. So I was optimistic about the defense, and now I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what I expect. And I thought the offense would be better than the defense. So that's just encouraging. And what's supposed to be a very competitive division. The Packers just looked like pretty much outclassed them, it felt like, throughout the game. And the Lions, this is from our guy Keegan Abdu from Next Gen Stats. Lions finished with their lowest explosive play rate since 2021. Only 4 explosive plays the entire game. And that's, Goff was attacking underneath because he was getting heated up. Whenever he feels pressured, that's what he kind of goes. He kind of leans towards. He doesn't really want to push the ball if he kind of moves off his launch spot. Man, but they need some explosives. They weren't getting on the ground as much as they usually do. They weren't getting those catch and runs on the screens. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown felt like he was kind of used in a different way. I kind of felt like the canary in the coal mine play was when Jameson Williams took the reverse on one of the first drives and only went for 3 yards. And I was like, usually those are touchdowns, walk-in touchdowns. And maybe it's just a little different with the Lions. And again, Packers defense came out to play. It was at Lambeau, but I'm keeping my eye on that Lions offense. Kind of just a little bit iffy. What'd you think of the Packers run game? Any issues with it, or you kind of just like maybe the Lions kind of were a tough slog?
I think the Lions are a tough slog, but still, like it kind of ended up turning out being an okay day. Like when you're just looking at like what they were trying to accomplish with some of these runs, because even though they had 3.1 yards per carry, they still had a 41% success rate on the ground. They were barely in the negative in terms of EPA per rush at .004.
That's a little better than I thought.
Right. So because it seemed like they were kind of chugging along and like maybe picking up like short gains. They were putting in place to get more first downs. So it was a kind of a mixed bag. I think obviously and the Lions, they can be tough sledding. They've got a lot of good players in that defense, especially in their front seven. It can be tough sledding. I can imagine some weeks it'll be a little bit easier. So I think the fact that you're able to pick up like some of the tough runs, even without maybe the explosives you're hoping for with the running back like Josh Jacobs and the offensive line they have. And, Zach Thomas went out for a little bit with an injury today, but still, you probably want to see them get a little bit more explosive runs. And I think that will happen. It's just the Packers. They've got a lot of good players on this team.
Yeah,
it's and I think they'll play better in the future.
What's nice is like, some offenses, I'm like, well, they gotta get explosive somehow. It's like the Packers passing game they're gonna get them because how Love plays, how the protection is. Like he didn't take a sack. He drops back deep and he doesn't take sacks. That's so frustrating for defenses. So like I'm with you. It's just like it just has to be a jab. It's like the same as the Rams, where it's just like just get your 4 or 5 yards, Josh Jacobs, and we're good. And then Love, man, he could play the ball to so many different guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10 different Packers had a reception today. So yeah, it was a standout performance from the Green Bay Packers, who we're all pretty high on. And I'm not I'm not changing my tune about them.
Yeah.
We're going to get to high number 3, and this is a little bit more wide ranging, but it's some rookies impressed. Emeka Egbuka, Bucks first round pick receiver, had 2 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons. That was a fun game for you. Will Johnson, who we were both very high on the draft process, but had some injury concerns, dropped to the second round to the Cardinals, had, I thought, a great game against the Saints, and then kind of a really funky game. And then Harold Fannin Jr., another fan. You're a big fan of Harold Fannin Jr., tight end from the Browns. And maybe this was just a couple plays he had, but man, I thought Harold Fannin Jr. had some really nice moments. But how do these guys stand out to you, or any other rookies you want to throw in here to talk about?
Fannin was the one that I was kind of keen in on a little bit because I couldn't help myself but flip over to that Browns Bengals game, every once in a while, especially because, I mean, the Bengals defense, like it seemed like they were getting shredded for chunks of that game,
Yeah.
which is never where you want to be when you're playing an offense like the Browns, even though they were able to pull it out at the end. But it seemed like every time I looked up, like Harold Fannin was doing something nice. Like they're really trying to get him the football. And I think that probably a 2 tight end set offense is a good place for this offense to live, just given where their personnel is right now. So obviously, with the Browns offense, they're going to have a lot of ugly games, but it was cool to see at least, back in college, Bowling Green, they found so many different ways to get the ball in his hands. And it was a huge focal point of their offense from, just regular tight end duties, some slot receiver, to getting the ball in the backfield. And now the Browns, they kind of see the same value in him having the ball in his hands. And he has some nice plays, man, down the field too. Good. So I was pretty excited because usually you see some of these guys and it takes them a while to get going. But, game one, they had a plan for him.
It's cool how a guy wins in college exact same way. Is that he had moments where, I mean, he had one play where he catches one in the flat, throws off the DB, and then he trucks the linebacker. And I think it was Logan Wilson, and Logan Wilson had to get out of the game or come out of the game, but got the wind knocked out of him. But yeah, Fannin finished with 7 catches on 9 targets for 63 yards. I thought he just had some targets. Yeah, I'm with you. They were using him as like a true weapon. And it was encouraging in the preseason. They isolated him. If you're isolating a rookie tight end, you think very highly of him. And they didn't change it today. I thought all the receivers actually had some nice moments for the Browns. I thought Cedric Tillman had some nice moments. He had a touchdown. I thought Joe Flacco ripped some piss missiles out there. Man. I know it's the Bengals defense, but he had some real awesome throws that kind of got me real excited. So yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with just be watchable. Browns offense. That's all I care. Like that's like we're going to be talking about you guys if you do something interesting. So it was nice to see Fannin Jr. start out pretty well. Also, Will Johnson, he had an interception taken away. It was in the end zone. It was a bogus call, I think on Max Melton, like where they called illegal holding or something, and it was like they showed the replay. And it was one of those where it's like, where was the penalty? But he has a nice interception. He has a huge hit on Chris Olave that had me thinking about Reggie Bush in his rookie year. Remember when he caught the one in the swing pass and he just got absolutely murdered and got depleted? That's what Will Johnson did to poor Chris Olave today. Only allowed 32 yards on 7 targets. I thought he looked like the real deal. I know corner plays are one of those you have to really watch on film, but he really stood out to me. Cardinals defense had some good moments after the passer. It wasn't all perfect. Kyler Murray took some bad sacks, I thought, on offense, but they got it done. They covered. I would say that's my compliment for the Cardinals. But then Micah Egbuka and your Falcons against your Falcons, those couple touchdowns. What did you think of that game? What did you think of that game? Because I don't know. Falcons had some actually decency, but then there was some rough.
Yeah, I mean, they had some moments. Bijan had an awesome game today. Penix with the hero. Awesome. That was ridiculous. Penix had the 2 hero, trying to get across, and then he did the second time. Kind of a mixed bag from him. I think I'm just a little disappointed in the offensive line. They wasn't a whole lot of pickings as far as running the ball was going. And then on the flip side, again, just another game where just not getting that much pressure up front outside of there was maybe a couple blitzes where they got close, but we need to see a little bit more from James Pierce and Jalen Walker, I think, next week. But hey, tough matchup. They had Graham Barton slide over from center to left tackle, which was really cool. It
was cool.
I thought he played pretty decently in pass protection. So that Bucs line is still moving. And hey, they survived a pretty weird game from Baker because he had a lot of throws where he was not close. It was all over the place. But then just dimes right when you need them, and the Falcons kind of let them stay in the game. So that's a typical Falcons loss, I guess.
Oh man, Elijah Wilkinson, who was playing right tackle, right? He gave up 6 pressures, which is rough, and 3 quick pressures, which is devastating. That basically depletes the play. Yeah, I thought Penix, yeah, that little scramble he had where he kept his shin and knee up, that was pretty remarkable considering it reminded me of Mike Vick how to play like that. I remember that
Yeah, you did.
I remember as from my childhood, I just remember that play. And like, I remember the announcer doing the Superman theme. He's like, da, 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 like, da, 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 da. It was, yeah, pretty, that I had flashbacks to that at least, to the left-handed Falcons quarterback scraping in the red zone. Yeah, rough day for the Falcons offensive line, which is to be expected with the right tackle out, Kevin McGarry. Barton kicking over the left tackle fired me up because that's why I like Graham Barton. Yeah. He gave up some pressure, so I won't lie, but he still was actually pretty fine, I actually thought. But yeah, that Bucks team, man, they I thought on defense they had some real good moments, like at short yardage where Vita Vea had some good stuff. I want to review them overall, the Bucks and both of these teams actually, because there's just some questions I have about their defense, and I actually thought they had some nice moments over there. But
yeah, Xavier Watson, Billy Bowman they had some nice moments.
How about that?
Two rookie safeties they drafted. They had some nice moments, so that was encouraging.
That is not Mike Hughes though. So it's just
no.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're highlighting Egbuka in the sections because of Mike Hughes, actually. But yeah, Bucks pulled that win off, take the lead in the NFC South.